Welcome to Cielo, the Savor Mama podcast, a soul-centered space for women healing childhood wounds, breaking generational cycles, and learning to live, love, and lead like Jesus. Each episode offers soul care tools, biblical truth, and honest, spirit-led conversations to help you live authentically and walk in love and freedom. You are not alone. Let's heal, grow, and savor this season together, one story and one step at a time.
Legacies. When your kids actually love you and want to be around you, it feels good to not have to rely on old habits. This old instant gratification is the demise of our society. Because it's all about behaviors. It's 80% behavior, 20% head knowledge. I can do math, but can you actually make the math work?
Right? Next one. Cultural harmony. Being in a multicultural marriage, what's one tradition, mindset, and perspective from each of our culture that you value passing to our girls?
Well, I love the mindset of family unit and the respect in the family unit of the elderly too. So, our younger girls call the big sister ate. Love that respectful words in the language instead of just hey you.
Yeah, I remember. What did Zia say? Talia. And Talia was like,
you don't call me Talia, call me ate. So I love that, love that thing in your culture. I grew up with my best friend was half Thai, half Laos, so I'm very well versed in Asian cultures. I
just want to share this story. So when I started dating him and I visited his room, he actually have a rice cooker.
And
I was so impressed. So I was like, yeah, I can deal with this because, to be honest with you, he's my first white boyfriend, and apparently it's stuck with me.
I love rice over easy eggs and soy sauce. Okay, umami.
So yeah, and it's funny too because I think a lot of people in our family think I spoil you so much, but a lot of people don't understand. I just love to cook, and I'm a foodie. So, and I love to share. So he gets the share of my love.
I like to cook too, but she cooks stuff I never heard of. So I'll divulge in that.
And I'm also gonna add, for him, the culture that you brought into our family is able to really speak up. I think that's something that he really showed me how to do. Even when we're boyfriend and girlfriend working together in a rehab, able to see him to be a leader and speak up and for his patients and to get what he needed. It was something that I look up to.
I'm a twin. I was the older of the twins. I feel like that in my upbringing was that I never had a problem speaking up and out. And then I was in the army, so that helped it better. Bad attitude. Had to stop that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and a nurse leader and things like that. So I have to speak up. And when you're in nursing and things go bad, you need to be able to speak up fast.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I was encouraging her to do the same thing and get out of her shell and get out of the worry of what are people going to think about me when I speak up? Well, sometimes I think I will go back and think over what I've said the prior days and be like, oh man, I probably shouldn't have said that. We all do that, but there are times where you just need to speak up.
Yeah. Also, I think it also comes from your experience of in the army. Can you share about your experience? Having to give codes of where to
Yeah, you got to be clear and concise.
Can you tell more about your experience, what you did in the army and how that communication had helped you? Because I remember you have to tell certain codes, coordination,
right?
To put where
my job consisted of radio calls over and giving coordinates out for dropping, fire bombs and things like that. So you have to be clear, concise, and know what you're doing, and quick on the radio, right? Only single word to get out over and all that. But in nursing, you have to do the same thing. People always tell me man, you're so short. I'm yeah, we're at work. I don't need to be friends and elaborate on what I'm doing. I'm going to tell you what to do and get it over and done, and I want it done.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I think also
there's nothing bad.
Yeah, and also when it comes to emergency stuff,
Yeah.
you have you have a window of time when it
Yeah,
comes to
you gotta get it done.
patience.
Like,
Yeah.
go do it now.
Yeah.
Don't sit here and
But then again, we're not in an environment where our healthcare and our society we don't have the tools and the help that we need. So that's the both of the tug of war of a challenge of being precise, but at the same time, it's like people are already overwhelmed in this type of field work, you know? All right, rooted in love. What does it mean to you to raise our girls in a home rooted in God's love, even when life feels chaotic?
I mean, life is always going to be chaotic, but you can always be rooted in the Bible and God, right? So that's helpful for me because I didn't grow up that way. It wasn't a bad thing, but I'm learning this now with the help of some elderlies at the church and the pastor and doing Bible studies. And it's just helpful to me to be able to, you know, even in corrective moments or aha moments of similarities, be like, oh, this is what happened over here. And I would tell the girls, you know, like, well, this happened here and then this is in life happened. So it's, and, you know, John asked me one time, said like, you know, how do you know like that God's word is true? And I'm like, well, I just live it. Right? You live even all the money parables say money, the love of money is the root of all evil, or the borrower is slave to the lender. You can use all those and they're true. Like, you borrow money, you want to be slave to the lender until you pay it off. So I just live the Bible life, and you know, you're gonna have ups and downs, but it's very comforting and peaceful.
I love that you said that live, because I think there's a difference between knowing the word and living out the word.
Right. Yeah, you can know it and not live it.
Can you also talk about, like, from the books you read, from other also videos you've listened to, people that you surround yourself with? Because I know not only from Bible study, you have different mentors and coaches that have poured to you. Share that how those men influence you.
Yeah, you can take bits and pieces from each mentor and refer back to others and be like, okay, yeah, I saw that there and I see that here, and make the connections, and you know.
Yeah, and that's good that you're really applying it.
Right.
Not just like knowing and listening, you're applying it in real life.
I mean, what's the point of knowing it if you're not going to apply it? You're not going to get anywhere.
Yes, you got to practice it for sure. All right. What has helped you stay supportive and grounded through all my dreams, ideas, and ups and downs of entrepreneurship, writing, and podcasting?
Well, you know, I want to support you in anything that you want to do. And as long as we're on the same page moving forward and we're not blowing out the butt, you know, ridiculous things, you know, we do spend money that are okay because it's not out of control of our budget. And as long as we're on the same page, I'll support you.
And I think that's the best thing that we ever did. Even before we start dating, we've always been communicating, right? We're building
what
dreams.
Our plan is going to be.
Yeah, what our plan is going to be, our
short-term goals, mid and long.
Yeah, and I think I'm glad that we started as like really good friends and communicating. Even like, you know, we paid off cash for our honeymoon and wedding.
And the wedding.
And
everything. From back then till now.
Yeah. And also, I want to kind of share this story. So when I was struggling with postpartum depression, one of the things I was led to do was to downsize and to minimize in a fifth wheel. And I was really nervous how to kind of share that news to my husband, because, you know, we were living in Arizona, you live close to your brother, and it's but I was just very unhappy where we at. So can you share your thoughts about that big change and from going from West Coast here at the East Coast? How have that changed you?
It was a big change, but I am a minimalist at heart. So I didn't mind living in the RV, you know, downsizing and all that. It was hard to live through multiple seasons and, you know, carry everything in with us, but we got used to it and we did it for 3 years.
Talking about what are your thoughts about downsizing an RV? And me bringing that news to you, because I think that I felt that's where everything started.
Yeah.
My journey of entrepreneurship, writing, podcasting. We have also really stewarding all this blessing that God given us, and most of it has come from my visions of dreaming, and I'm so glad that you supported it. So I just want to.
Yeah. So downsizing wasn't hard really, because I like to be moving. The hard part for me was trying to drive that RV and back up and learn everything about it. But otherwise, I love to travel, and I was happy, you know, sell the house and start moving around.
Yeah. I'm glad I found my adventure buddy. Because I mean, even in Costa Rica, we road tripping without a GPS, just a map.
Hmm.
So that just goes to tell you like who you marry matters in life or where you want to go.
Get lost happening.
All right. What one thing you would say to a fellow dad who wants to build a peaceful and prosperous life but feels stuck in the cycle of survival?
Right. Well, survival can mean a few things, money and money problems, income versus outgo. So, sometimes I ask just feeler questions out. Are you stuck? You have too many car payments or something? Whatever it is, whatever preceded the conversation. And, or like if they've got emotional issues, I'll lead into those things. And just main points is like, manage your money and help heal yourself. Go through counseling if you need it. We've been through counseling, marriage counseling, personal counseling, things like that. We've done it. So it's not like I'm just preaching this without having done it myself. It's because we've been through these things. So, and people just like start to gravitate towards me at work with these things they just randomly talk about, or I'll hear something and I will say something and just a word that I feel. So those are the things that I will lean into.
Yeah. And would you say, I think I like talking about this, your identity as a child of God is such an important thing in everything that you do. What would you say to like young men out there who are dads or husbands, the importance of identity?
Well, if you've got an identity crisis on your hands, you don't know who you are, you're going to be running wild. So we've all been there, I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
I had identity crisis too, a teenager and all the way through the military and after. It just took me a while. But I had to unlearn a lot of things that I learned and reparent and relearn as a man what I needed to do right. So those are the things that I would say to somebody. Same thing. What did I go through and how did I get through it?
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing that. And final blessing. And it's crazy because Talia is like,
Yep, this is the part.
If our girls were listening to this years from now,
I've read that before.
okay, what is one prayer or wish you want to speak over their lives as their father today?
Well, I would tell them all that I hope that they live their life the way they want it and not for someone else, for them. Do what they love to do. The old cliche, love what you do at work and you'll never work a day in your life. Things like that. Like I love to be a nurse. So I would love for them to do what they want to do. I'm not going to push them into something I want them to do. Just whatever they are good at and they can hone their skills for those things and that they love to do it. And, just a strong, powerful, confident woman, brings me back to this movie that we watched, Mulan, right? So
My
we've
favorite.
seen the action or the animated one and then the live action. The live action one hits me a little bit harder because it just has a little bit different stuff in there. But, the story of Mulan, she feels strongly to be a warrior. Her chi is strong, right? And they go to war and she's not supposed to be there, but she fakes it until she does it, right? She hides herself and then she goes, she even says like at one point, like, kill me, but you better listen to me. There's problems, right? So, and then she goes and helps and they win. But the major part that I'm talking about is back home. She goes back home to meet up with her family and stuff. And it's beautiful when the general comes and presents her an award in front of her family, in front of her father. And it's just very, very rewarding to see that and beautiful to see that this woman that everybody told her, no, you can't do this, shouldn't do this, blah, blah, blah. She goes and does it anyways and does it in the best way possible.
Yeah. And I think it's so important as parents to heal ourselves because we could not give anything to our children. And also, I think, being rooted in God's love, right? Knowing who we are as His children is such a great thing because I think too, as we reparent, we're coming to see that what we didn't get as children, and we don't have to pass that on. We can pass on what we wanted as children to our children, right? So we are so thankful that you watch this video, or if you're listening, thank you for listening to this podcast. We hope that we have encouraged you and inspired you that you can rewrite your story. You can create your life as who God called you to be. You can live extraordinary life. Thank you for watching. This is Cielo, the Saver Mom.